The red carpet was rolled up, the Grammy speeches were over,
Yeah,
and the country music fairy tale that captured millions of hearts, well, it suddenly shattered.
it really did.
The cameras flashed, the rumors swirled, and just like that, Nashville and Hollywood had a new obsession. Welcome to Starscope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
I mean, the contrast between public triumph and private turmoil is just always striking, you know?
Absolutely.
But this particular situation, it really challenges everything we assume about how highly visible relationships operate.
It does. And today we have a very specific mission for you, our listener. We're taking a deep dive into the shocking headline that's been dominating literally every feed right now. Jelly Roll finally addresses the rumors.
Yeah, that headline is everywhere.
Right. We are unpacking the sudden, entirely unexpected divorce between the country superstar and his wife of nearly 10 years, Bunnie X. And our goal today is to bypass the tabloid fiction entirely.
Which is so needed right now.
Exactly. So to do that, we are analyzing the official court documents from Williamson County, we're examining recent concert footage, and we're breaking down the incredibly candid revelations from Bunnie's own tell-all on her Dumb Blonde podcast.
Analyzing those primary sources is just critical here. Because when a relationship of this magnitude dissolves, the public narrative instantly demands, like a simplified binary.
Oh, for sure.
You know, they want someone to blame and they want someone to pity. But as we sift through the actual filings and the statements, a much more intricate narrative emerges.
It's definitely not black and white.
No, not at all. We are looking at a masterclass in how complex human grief operates behind this tightly curated digital curtain.
Well, let's start by analyzing that digital curtain, because the timeline of this split presents a fascinating case study in cognitive dissonance. We have to rewind to May 9th, 2026.
Right, the prom.
Yeah. If you were scrolling through social media that day, you were presented with the ultimate image of domestic stability. Jelly Roll and Bunnie were photographing their 18-year-old daughter, Bailey Ann, for her prom.
They look so happy.
They really did. Bunnie posted a TikTok proudly calling them the ma and pa of the prom queen. It is a picture-perfect milestone. Yet the official court documents in Tennessee list that exact date, May 9th, as their official date of separation.
That is just staggering to think about.
Just over a week later, on May 18th, the paperwork citing irreconcilable differences was formally filed.
The psychological endurance required to navigate a day like that is, I mean, it's immense.
I can't even imagine.
You are hitting a major developmental milestone for a child you've raised together, knowing internally that the structural foundation of your family is legally ending that same afternoon.
Right.
It really highlights a mechanism unique to highly publicized figures, which is the performance of normalcy. They couldn't allow their private collapse to eclipse their daughter's joy.
So they compartmentalized the trauma.
Exactly. They smiled for the flash, and they fulfilled the public expectation of the united front.
It's wild, and I'm looking at how that final collapse actually triggered, and it completely contradicts the initial PR spin we usually see in these situations.
Oh, no, totally. The prevailing theory was a calculated mutual uncoupling.
Right, but on her podcast, Bunnie dismantled that narrative completely. She revealed the filing was not mutual at all.
Wait, really?
Yeah. It originated from a heated argument on Mother's Day. She described a state of just profound exhaustion and anger, culminating in her telling him to file the Fing divorce papers.
How?
She explicitly stated she was venting frustration. She never expected him to take that as a literal directive. It's like this high-stakes game of emotional chicken where one person suddenly stops swerving.
That is such a good way to put it.
Is this a case of a bluff being called, or the straw that finally broke the camel's back?
I think this specific mechanism of conflict resolution, or, the breakdown of it, is incredibly common when a system is already overloaded.
Like they were just pulled out.
Exactly. When individuals are operating at a deficit of emotional energy, their communication becomes absolute and reactive. She threw out a nuclear option as a manifestation of her exhaustion.
Right.
And the fact that he immediately acted upon it suggests he was also operating at a similar deficit. He didn't have the emotional bandwidth to de-escalate or interpret the nuance of her anger. He simply accepted the exit she offered.
It reminds me of pulling the wrong block from a precarious Jenga tower. It wasn't that the single argument was so forceful it destroyed the relationship.
No, it was just the tipping point.
Exactly. It's that the argument was the block that finally revealed how hollowed out the foundation had become, from the persistent, invisible weight they were both carrying. He didn't try to steady the tower, he just let it fall.
You really did.
But if you think that's the end of their story as a family, think again. Wait till you hear what they are still planning to do together. And hey, if you're hooked on these Hollywood twists and the psychology behind them, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a deep dive.
The aftermath of letting that structure fall is where the reality of their shared history really complicates the separation.
Oh, absolutely.
Untangling 10 years of intertwined assets, especially at their level of recent wealth, usually invites a highly adversarial legal process.
And that brings us to the property settlement, which entirely defies the standard Hollywood divorce playbook. Ego usually dictates the division of massive estates, but Bunnie is getting the dream compound they spent the entirety of last year building.
Which is massive, by the way.
Huge. And this isn't just a house, it's a multi-dwelling estate featuring 3 separate houses, including a dedicated home for Mimi.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Jelly Roll reportedly offered zero resistance. He told her during the build to make the decisions because he just wanted a turnkey experience, and he is honoring that by walking away clean. She also retains all the animals, specifically ensuring fans that Crunch, S'more, and Chachi aren't going anywhere.
That lack of friction over such a significant asset portfolio speaks volumes about their internal dynamic.
It's so rare in Hollywood.
It really is. When a partner willingly forfeits a custom-built, multi-million-dollar estate without a protracted legal battle, it generally indicates 2 things.
What are they?
An overwhelming desire for a clean, immediate break and a profound, lingering respect. He acknowledges that the compound and the menagerie of animals are tethered to her sense of security and identity.
Right.
He is untangling the marriage, but he is refusing to disrupt her sanctuary.
While the property division seems incredibly clean, there is another revelation from her podcast that deeply complicates this separation. I am genuinely struggling to understand the logistics of this next point.
Yeah, this part is wild.
Despite the ink on the divorce papers being barely dry, Bunnie announced they are still proceeding with having a baby together via a surrogate.
It's so unexpected.
It is. She detailed a devastating IVF journey leading up to this, 4 lost embryos, including a heartbreaking loss of twins through 3 separate transfers. She described the miscarriages as completely gut-wrenching.
Just unimaginably painful.
Yeah, and I have to push back on the practicality of this plan. We've seen conscious uncoupling but intentionally co-parenting a newborn via surrogate with a fresh ex-husband. From a psychological standpoint, how does a co-parenting structure survive that level of immediate transition when the divorce is just happening?
It's a completely valid challenge because it defies conventional logic entirely.
Right.
To understand the viability, we have to stop looking at them through the lens of a traditional romantic marriage and view them through the lens of a trauma bond that has evolved into a permanent familial tether.
Okay, that makes sense.
The primary document we need to reference here is Jelly Roll's Grammy speech from early 2026.
Oh, the one where he won Best Contemporary Country Album.
Exactly. He stood before the industry and explicitly credited Bunnie with keeping him out of jail and literally saving his life.
That kind of foundational reliance creates a completely different architecture for a relationship.
Precisely. They forged their connection in the trenches of addiction, legal peril, and the profound shared grief of losing those 4 embryos.
It's a lot for 2 people to go through.
It is. And that level of mutual survival creates a bond that a divorce decree simply cannot erase. They clearly no longer function successfully as romantic partners, but they fundamentally view each other as lifelong family.
Wow.
The surrogate pregnancy is the ultimate manifestation of the love that survived the storm, even if the marital structure itself had to be dismantled.
That survival tether makes the sudden split so baffling to the general public, and when an audience is baffled by a celebrity split, they immediately seek out a narrative that requires less cognitive effort.
Which is why the rumor mill instantly began manufacturing villains.
Right. And up next, we'll dive into those cheating rumors, the bizarre rock star connection, and the shocking twist about who has already re-entered the dating pool.
The algorithmic monetization of outrage demands a scapegoat.
Oh, always.
A quiet, exhaustion-driven parting of ways doesn't generate engagement, so the vacuum of information is quickly filled with scandal.
The internet certainly delivered on the scandal. The most pervasive rumor was an incredibly specific claim that Bunnie had left the marriage for Chad Kroeger, the frontman of Nickelback.
Of all people.
Right. Bunnie tackled this head-on during her podcast, aggressively shutting it down. She called the speculation embarrassing and went out of her way to publicly apologize to Chad and the band for being dragged into the media circus.
That's hilarious, but also so frustrating for her.
She was unequivocal. There was no infidelity on either side.
And that unified front was mirrored perfectly by Jelly Roll's actions on tour.
Yeah, he brought the exact same messaging to the stage in Saratoga Springs, New York. He literally paused his concert to address the crowd directly, insisting that nobody cheated on nobody.
Which is quite a statement to make mid-show.
He then cemented that sentiment by telling an arena full of fans that Bunnie will likely be the only woman he ever loves.
It is a profound declaration of enduring affection. However, as analysts, we have to look at why the public was so primed to believe the infidelity rumors in the first place. Audiences pattern match current events to historical data.
And the historical data definitely provides fuel for that fire. If we look back at Bunnie's memoir and their previous podcast discussions, they have been brutally honest about the fact that Jelly Roll did cheat back in 2018.
Yeah, the 10-month affair.
Right, which led to a brief separation. On a recent podcast, he referred to that period as the absolute worst moment of his adulthood. He detailed how his environment, doing cocaine and surrounding himself with people who were actively betraying their own spouses, normalized that destructive behavior.
That context is crucial for understanding his broader transformation. Recovery from addiction often requires a ruthless auditing of one's inner circle.
Oh, absolutely.
He has spoken candidly about the difficult realization that keeping friends around purely for the sake of a 12-year history was toxic when those individuals were, in his phrasing, horrible humans. The accountability he took for that 2018 affair was part of his larger journey toward sobriety. The public hears the word divorce and defaults to the established historical pattern, but they are both fiercely protective of the reality that this current separation is entirely distinct from the mistakes of their past.
That protective instinct is manifesting in how they are handling their newly separate lives. They are moving forward with a speed that is almost jarring.
They really are.
Jelly Roll has already re-entered the dating pool. He completely scrubbed Bunnie from his Instagram bio. Her handle is gone, replaced entirely by 2 words, Music Man.
It's such a swift rebrand.
Meanwhile, Bunnie confirmed she is focusing solely on herself, but she noted Jelly Roll is actively ready to date. She even injected some humor into the situation, stating Stella's getting her groove back, and describing the absurd influx of verified blue-check men sliding into her DMs since the announcement.
What stands out here is the extraordinary emotional maturity Bunnie is demonstrating.
True.
It is highly lucrative in the influencer space to monetize a breakup through vague posting and passive-aggressive content. Instead, she is actively running PR defense for the man she is divorcing.
You never see.
Never. When faced with fans criticizing her for ever taking him back after 2018, she pivoted to grace, explaining that it takes far more strength to face pain and rebuild with grace than it does to run and gossip.
Right.
She is refusing to speak negatively about his current choices because she views it as outside her jurisdiction.
That level of restraint is a complete anomaly in modern pop culture, and that's not even the wildest part. Later in the deep dive, we'll talk about the real reason sources say this marriage fell apart and the family crossfire that followed.
The collateral damage of a highly publicized separation rarely spares the surrounding family, especially when millions of spectators feel entitled to participate in the fallout.
It's so true. We are seeing that exact burden placed on their daughter, Bailey-Ann.
Yeah, that situation got messy fast.
She is 18, stepping into young adulthood, and her family's collapse is being dissected on thousands of TikTok pages. She finally hit her limit and posted a fierce response, stating she was disgusted by the relentless obsession with her family's private matters.
Good for her.
Her message to the fans was incredibly blunt. We're about your house, not mine.
Her frustration is a direct response to the toxicity of parasocial relationships.
Oh, 100%.
Audiences develop a one-sided intimacy with these creators, convincing themselves they understand the hidden subtext of every single post. This leads to a dangerous dynamic where innocent actions are weaponized by the community to fit a predetermined dramatic narrative.
And there is a perfect example of that weaponization regarding a recent TikTok. Jelly Roll posted a video featuring Bailey-Ann set to the song Mama by Lotto, which he is featured on.
Right.
The lyrics broadly discuss becoming a father to a daughter. The internet immediately ripped the video out of its context. The comment section devolved into a frenzy of fans convinced the video was a calculated subtweet aimed at Bunnie.
People just project so much onto these videos.
The projection was so intense that Jelly Roll was forced to issue a public clarification, explaining it was simply a tribute to his daughter and not a response to the divorce.
It illustrates how exhausting it is to dismantle a life under a microscope.
Huh.
Every movement is scrutinized for malice. Which brings us to the core analytical question.
You're right.
If there was no malice, no infidelity, and a lingering foundation of love, what was the systemic failure that ultimately fractured the marriage?
Well, sources claim their lifestyles ultimately clashed. To comprehend this, we have to measure the sheer velocity of Jelly Roll's personal evolution over the past few years.
It's been a massive transformation.
Huge. We're talking about a man who spent a decade locked in a cycle of incarceration for drug distribution. From that baseline, he lost 300 pounds. He gained a 2025 governor's pardon from Tennessee's Bill Lee.
Right.
He took the floor of the U.S. Congress to testify about the fentanyl crisis. And alongside this complete reinvention, he has embraced a deeply faith-centered lifestyle.
The trajectory of his faith is a profound internal paradigm shift. He was baptized in his youth, lost that connection through his years of addiction and incarceration, and found his way back recently when Bailey Ann expressed a desire to be baptized.
That's a huge shift in values.
It is. He found a community of grace and accountability there. That isn't just a lifestyle tweak. It is a total rewiring of his worldview and his daily operational values.
And multiple reports suggest that rewiring simply caused friction with the empire Bunnie has built. Her brand is authentically outspoken. She hosts the Dumb Blonde podcast, where the content is intentionally provocative, raw, and edgy.
Right.
The friction reportedly grew as Jelly Roll leaned further into this family-friendly, faith-focused redemption arc, while Bunnie maintained the unapologetic persona that drives her business. It makes me think of two ships that navigated a terrible storm together.
That's a great analogy.
Right. They get through the storm, but only to realize, once the skies clear, that they were charting courses to entirely different continents.
This is the inherent risk of a relationship forged in a survival environment. When two people are drowning, their only shared goal is finding the surface.
Exactly.
They synchronize perfectly because the threat requires it. But once they reach the shore and the immediate danger passes, they finally have the luxury of looking around and deciding what kind of life they actually want to build.
Yeah.
They serve their purpose for one another. She kept him alive long enough to become a man who could testify before Congress. He provided the unconditional support she needed to build a massive, independent media empire.
Wow.
Acknowledging that their trajectories no longer align doesn't invalidate the decade they spent saving each other. Growth sometimes just means growing apart.
It is a surprisingly beautiful way to frame what is undoubtedly a painful reality. And hey, if you want to keep exploring the psychological mechanics and real stories hiding beneath the headlines, be sure to hit subscribe so you never miss our next Hollywood Deep Dive.
As this story continues to unfold, the true legacy of Jelly Roll and Bunnie X might not be their marriage, but the masterclass they are providing on how to dismantle a shared life.
Seriously.
They are prioritizing financial stability with a compound, fiercely protecting their children from the public crossfire, and outright refusing to feed the algorithmic outrage machine.
All of which leaves us with a lingering, provocative question to ponder for the future. We know the marriage is legally dissolved, but with a surrogate baby still on the way, the structural ties of their family are about to become permanent all over again.
It's going to be fascinating to watch.
As they navigate these new chapters, with Jelly Roll embracing his era as the music man and Bunnie curating her inbox of blue checks, will this new baby pull their orbits back into alignment? Or are they about to redefine what a successful, unconventional Hollywood family looks like? You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.